Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to be dissecting, I think it's 14 buzzing posts from X, really giving you a snapshot of what people are talking about right now. Our mission, well, is to get past the headlines, pull out the key insights, maybe uncover some surprising facts behind what's actually driving the online chat. We've got a real mix today, everything from tech, global stuff, market trends, even some pop culture moments. Think of it as your shortcut to being, properly informed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the real value here, I think. These posts, when you look closely, they don't just show what people are talking about. They kind of reveal how information spreads. And you start to see the currents underneath shaping how we all understand things. We want to dig into the why and, what it all means.
Okay, let's kick things off with, a story that's both surprising and, frankly, pretty concerning. It starts with this post from @ItterIntellectus. All it says is, "I know I shouldn't, but I am laughing so hard."
Nay.
Now that sounds, maybe a bit lighthearted, but the context is, well, it's not light at all. What's going on here?
Yeah, the irony is kind of staggering. This user is reacting to a huge data breach. And it involves the T app, which is supposed to be a women-only dating safety platform.
A safety platform. Oh, wow.
Exactly. And the scale is just massive. Over 59 gigabytes of data exposed. We're talking 72,000 images and 1.1 million private messages.
1.1 million messages.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
It really is. And the core insight, I think, is how even platforms built around security can have these massive vulnerabilities if, the basic stuff gets missed.
So what was missed? Was it like some super complex hack?
Actually, no. That's the interesting part. Reports from places like Bleeping Computer and the New York Times confirmed it wasn't sophisticated at all. It was down to an unsecured legacy storage system, specifically an unsecured Firebase bucket. Just open.
A Firebase bucket, like cloud storage.
Exactly. And it taps into this huge issue in cybersecurity misconfigured cloud storage. It was a study, I think 2023, Journal of Cybersecurity. It said something like 68% of data breaches come from exactly these kinds of misconfigurations.
68%, wow.
Yeah. So the shocking thing is it's often not these master hackers, right? It's simple oversights exposing millions.
Okay, so that's a tech failure. But what about tech philosophy? Let's pivot a bit. There's this post from @Elon Musk causing a stir. He wrote, "This false nomenclature of researcher and engineer, which is a thinly masked way of describing a two-tier engineering system, is being deleted from @XAI today. There are only engineers. Researcher is a relic term from academia."
Right. And looking at the bigger picture, this is classic Musk, isn't it? A really bold organizational shift at XAI. It lines up perfectly with his history, disrupting traditional corporate structures, like Tesla's flat hierarchy, fewer managers, more direct lines.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
And the timing here is key, too. This post dropped just hours after XAI put out a job call for scaling AI environments. So it suggests a really rapid internal policy change, maybe even influenced by the whole X-Corp acquisition.
It's definitely assertive. But, Musk does make these bold, sometimes controversial moves. Could getting rid of the researcher title actually stifle, the deeper long-term thinking that pushes AI forward instead of just building bigger versions of what we have?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not just changing job titles. Musk is signaling this aggressive engineering-first, hands-on approach. It probably prioritizes quick, application-focused AI development. Maybe. Yeah, maybe at the expense of that pure academic-style research. It's a gamble. High risk, high reward could totally redefine how AI breakthroughs happen, pushing utility over theory.
All right, let's shift gears. Moving into some economic and policy discussions that are getting a lot of traction online. We'll start with this post from @EricElda. Well, breaking. Kevin O'Leary just said that as a result of Trump's home run EU trade deal, major manufacturing facilities will move to the United States now. Pharmaceuticals and automotive, we are hugely to them in those sectors. This is a big deal. They're going to move these.
Yeah, this is interesting. The context is Kevin O'Leary talking on Fox Business about this new EU-U.S. trade deal. Basically, the deal involves removing tariffs, increasing market access for American goods, and that creates this really strong incentive, potentially, for big pharma and auto manufacturing to, move back to the U.S.
A home run deal, he called it. Is there substance behind that claim?
Well, it's not just talk. You have to look at the background.
Yeah.
The U.S. government's already invested over $34 billion in domestic pharma manufacturing resilience since COVID. The whole goal was reducing reliance on foreign API facilities, active pharmaceutical ingredients. In 2019, something like 72% were overseas.
Right. So this builds on that.
Exactly. And then the White House announced, what was it, $750 billion energy purchase and $600 billion in new EU investments by 2028. So the core insight, it's that targeted policy isn't just about trade deals on paper. It's like a strategic tool, almost economic warfare,
Yeah.
designed to physically reshape global supply chains.
That is a huge potential shift. But while some places might be looking at a boom, other big hubs seem to be struggling. Like this post from @EcNewsItics. Las Vegas is empty AF. What is going on? Just
Classic.
blunt.
Yeah, and that feeling, that perceived emptiness, it actually lines up with reports of about a 20% drop in tourism there. The reasons seem to be, well, a mix of things. Partly, there's talk of a boycott by Canadians, other foreigners, maybe linked to perceptions of U.S. immigration policy under Trump.
Okay, so a political angle.
Potentially. But there are definitely economic pressures, too. We've got record-high U.S. credit card debt. The Fed's Q2 2025 report put it over $1.14 trillion. Plus, there's a new visa integrity fee that kicked in around July. And international visitors, who tend to spend about 30% more, they've dropped by 15% since early 2025.
Wow, so it's a perfect storm, kind of?
Seems like it. Geopolitics, consumer debt,
Yeah.
all hitting a local economy very visibly.
And connecting that back to policy ideas, we saw this post from @Unusual Wales. Breaking. Senator Hawley introduces bill to send $600 tariff rebate checks to Americans.
Right. And this brings up that classic economic debate, doesn't it? Would these $600 checks actually stimulate the economy, or would people just use them to pay down that debt we just mentioned?
Good question. What does past experience tell us?
Well, there was a National Bureau of Economic Research paper back in 2021 looking at the COVID stimulus checks. It found they did increase spending, sure, but they also seem to fuel inflation. So it's complicated.
Not a simple fix, then.
Not at all. And it ties into these bigger critiques you hear about government spending priorities. You know, people pointing to military spending like that 2022 Public Citizen Report on campaign contributions to pro-military spending politicians, or ongoing aid like the $3.3 billion annual military grants to Israel. We're not taking sides here, obviously, but the point is these rebate discussions don't happen in a vacuum. They're part of a larger conversation about economic philosophy, where resources go, the balance between public welfare and other interests.
Okay, so from those broad policy debates, let's zoom into a very specific, maybe even niche financial trend. Crypto. Here's Michael Saylor @Saylor posting. Strategy has acquired 21,021 BTC for $2.46 billion at $117,256 per Bitcoin and has achieved BTC yield of 25.0% YTD 2025. As of 7/29/2025, we held 628,791 BTC acquired for $46.08 billion at $73,277 per Bitcoin.
Yeah, Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, they made this incredibly bold corporate move, basically betting the farm on Bitcoin as a treasury asset. They've really, as you said, doubled down. Look at those numbers. Huge holdings, claiming a 25% yield year to date.
That's not typical for companies' cash reserves, right?
Not even close. Traditionally, companies hold cash, maybe short-term bonds, super safe stuff. This is highly unconventional. And the data shows they just keep buying. Their holdings went up from about 607,000 BTC just 5 days before this post.
So what's the bigger picture takeaway here?
It's a massive gamble, honestly. Bitcoin is famously volatile. Yes, it's had these insane average annual returns like 200% plus, but it's also had these brutal drawdowns in bear markets like 70% or more. So Strategy is really challenging mainstream finance ideas about diversification. It signals this growing, though definitely still risky, acceptance of crypto in the corporate world.
Okay, let's shift into pop culture now, which, often mirrors or even shapes these bigger societal talks. There's a lot of buzz around South Park right now. We're seeing posts from @Benny Johnson, @Charlie Kirk 11 himself, and @Culture Crave. What's the story?
The buzz is basically that Cartman, from South Park, he's apparently playing a caricature of Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist, in a new episode. @Benny Johnson posted an image with the caption, "This is the greatest honor pop culture can bestow upon you."
Okay.
And then Charlie Kirk himself shared a new profile picture, which is actually a screenshot from this rumored episode.
He leaned into it.
Seems like it. And the striking thing is just how fast this stuff travels and how South Park satire grabs attention. It often influences how people see political figures using humor. There was a Journal of Communication study in 2021 that talked about this.
Right, South Park goes after everyone, though, don't they? Is this just more of their usual thing?
Oh, absolutely. That's spot on.
Yeah.
They have a long history of this Emmy-winning satire, using these exaggerated takes on public figures. They've done, 329 episodes, targeted everyone from the Clintons to whoever's famous that week. It's totally in line with their whole equal opportunity, mockery, philosophy. They hit all
So
sides.
the Kirk caricature.
Yeah, it clearly plays on his, distinctive look, hairstyle, demeanor. It's a classic tactic, amps up recognizable traits for laughs. And given Kirk actually changed his profile pic in some recent controversial things he said, the timing is just perfect for the show to jump in.
Okay, from that kind of direct satire to something maybe a bit more internet weird.
Yeah.
This post from @pattern_recognize, just a link to an image. What are we actually looking at?
Okay, so the image, right, looks like a Google search bar, but it's misspelled Gogel.com, funny spelling. And then it shows people dressed in Adidas gear kind of reacting.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the joke?
Well, that's the thing. There are layers here. It's deep meme culture. It probably references that big Google outage back in 2022. Remember how everyone sort of panicked?
Yeah.
It shows how much we rely on it.
Ah, okay, I remember that.
But it also echoes this recurring meme format from a YouTube video back in 2018 where people had these over-the-top reactions to misspellings. It became a whole thing.
Gotcha, like an internet inside joke.
Exactly. And the username at pattern recognition test is pretty clever, right? It kind of suggests this isn't just random internet noise. It's a bit of a commentary on how memes evolve through cultural remixing. You need to recognize the pattern, the history to really get it.
All right, moving towards more direct societal commentary now. Let's talk about the controversy that's been swirling around Sydney Sweeney. We've got posts here from @nwokeness and @immeme0. What's the actual issue with her American Eagle ad campaign?
Okay, so the core issue is this American Eagle ad campaign featuring Sydney Sweeney is getting a lot of scrutiny. @endwokeness points to an MSNBC article that frames the whole campaign as some kind of cultural shift toward whiteness, so critiquing it for perceived social bias.
Okay.
Then, @MMN is criticizing someone described as a woke trauma surgeon, who apparently called the ad xenophobic, racist, and even scientifically inaccurate. And that last part seems to be because they misunderstood the word jeans.
Wait, misunderstood jeans.
It sounds like it was just a simple pun in the ad. Great genes like denim and great genes like genetics. Just a lighthearted play on words.
Seriously, that's what sparked all this.
Apparently. And it's been accused of promoting eugenics, white supremacy, really serious stuff. It just raises this big question,
Yeah.
How fast are marketing campaigns now getting dissected for any potential social or political meaning?
It seems incredibly fast.
Yeah, and it often blows up into these viral controversies. You can maybe contrast it with older campaigns like Calvin Klein's Pregnant Man ad, which actually saw sales dip. But here, despite all the noise, American Eagle's stock apparently surged. So the impact isn't always predictable.
Strange dynamic.
It is. And, without taking a stance on the ad itself, it's worth noting the context of potential media bias.
Yeah.
That Reuters Institute report from 2023 found, I think, 64% of U.S. journalists lean left. That could potentially skew how these things get interpreted, maybe towards more provocative angles sometimes.
Right. It's clear public figures, brands, they're all under this intense online microscope. And it's not just ads, it gets personal. We see that really powerfully in this post from Joey Swole, @thejoeyswole. It's quite emotional, he writes. All the good I've done, all the people I've helped, all for nothing. I truly hope all the people I've inspired do great things in their life and pay it forward to help others and carry on my message. But no matter how much good you do, people just wait for a reason to hate you. That sounds like someone really hurting. What's going on there?
Yeah, it's a really raw post from an influencer clearly feeling the pressure of public perception. What's interesting are some of the replies comparing him to the Hulk. That struggle between being seen as a hero but also being flawed, imperfect.
The duality.
Exactly. And in the wider context, this isn't happening in isolation. It connects to trends in the fitness industry, where claims of authenticity are constantly being challenged. Remember the whole Liver King steroid thing in 2022?
Oh, yeah, that was big.
So this taps into that cultural debate about accountability, about influencer culture, and the unique pressures these online figures face. And it's worth remembering, sometimes the perceived outrage online, amplified by media and platforms, can feel way bigger than the actual genuine public backlash.
That's a really good point. Okay, finally, let's touch on a really critical current event flagged by @NixOrditor. Breaking. A tsunami watch has been issued for the entire west coast of the U.S. and Hawaii after an 8.7 magnitude earthquake strikes the western Pacific Ocean. This is currently listed as the strongest earthquake in the world since 2011. Heed warnings, tsunamis are no joke. That sounds genuinely terrifying. What's the science behind this alert?
It really does. And an 8.7 magnitude quake off Kamchatka in Russia triggering a watch like that is a rare and powerful event. The USGS says there have only been like 12 earthquakes of that magnitude recorded globally since 1900.
Only 12. Wow.
Yeah. Scientifically, the tsunami risk comes from the tectonic plate movement. Big quakes like this, especially under the ocean in the Pacific Ring of Fire, which accounts for, 81% of the world's largest earthquakes, they can displace huge amounts of water.
It's reading the tsunami wave.
Exactly. And the human response mentioned in some comments, invoking prayer, that actually aligns with data showing many people turn to faith during major crises. But the core insight here is just a stark reminder, isn't it? The raw power of the planet, how unpredictable it can be, and how quickly something happening far away can trigger these widespread alerts. #outro.
Wow. Okay, what a session today. We have really covered some serious ground, haven't we? Everything from cybersecurity flaws and huge global trade shifts to South Park satire, meme culture, and then ending on natural disasters, all sparked by what's buzzing on X.
Absolutely. And the really striking thing, I think, is how when you look at these individual posts together through that deeper lens we talked about, they really start to reveal these underlying trends. They give you essential context for making sense of, our incredibly complex world. It's about connecting those dots beyond just the immediate reaction.
So, the big question for you, our listener, to maybe think about. In a world where information flies at you at the speed of X, how much of what you're consuming are you really understanding? What other hidden connections might be hiding between all those seemingly random topics lighting up your feed? Something to mull over. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.